I'm curious about what this land, this river, means to you.
Well, it means a lot to me. It's home, eh? It's home for us, all of us.
In a hopeless world.
It's something about the land up here, it just kind of gets into your blood. You know, the water and the rocks and I don't know, it was just the love of the land. And I still love it.
I just like it here. You know, I've been all over this church and walked the line right around.
She knows what it requires, and it's all that she desires. I see the light, a reason to fight, take over the world.
The bush is a special place for us because we live here. It doesn't have to be just, it could be just right outside my place. I've got trees outside my place. Trees is the mainstay of people, I think.
We need to come together as a nation.
It's our connection to Mother Earth that keeps us grounded.
It feels a lot better to have a week off and spend time in the bush.
To me, it's a lot of freedom. Do what you want, and it's cheaper to live in a bush. You cut your own wood. You know, have a good airtight stove.
It burns bright all together.
Look around and see what's amazing, what's there. You never saw it before, because you didn't look for it.
Imagine if we came together, being alone is weak. We would come in peace with no reason to fight.
You hear all that noise? That's what I like. Yeah. I asked you to come back to the land. She needs us. Oh, and which?
A reason to fight. I see the light take over the world.
So here's Dominic. What's your favorite place in the Meg?
I like the park because we can play lots of volleyball.
Play volleyball? What else do you do at the park?
Play baseball with Lucas.
Okay. And Chris? Where's your favorite place in the Meg?
It was in winter. We always used to go to the rink and like play team hockey and that stuff. In the summer, we always go swimming. That's where I like to go.
Okay, thanks guys.
You're welcome.
The park. Go ahead, Marquise.
The rink?
For the winter, it would have to be the rink.
The woods?
The woods? Where in the woods? Like
Behind my grandma.
the old road? Okay. And why do you like to go on the old road? There's lots of animals there?
My grandma's.
Your grandma's house? And what do you do there? You relax?
And I like playing in the bush.
In my house.
In your house? So the old highway is your favorite spot?
No, the bridge.
Oh, the bridge. Okay. And why is it your favorite spot?
Because it's quiet and peaceful and it's like really beautiful down there and it's just a good place to go.
Okay.
When we'd have hard times or we'd be sad or whatever, we always came by the water. If we couldn't find one another, we'd walk along the river to find each other. And it's more of a, like a, I want to say like connecting kind of. It's serene. It's nice to be able to just come and be open. And as women, the water is very important to us. The water is our medicine. But I think that all the graffiti on our bridge has a lot to do with expression. We've had losses in the community, and it's really cool that before they had gone, they had graffitied the bridge. Although graffiti was illegal, I think it's really cool that we have that piece of them left. And when it comes to like the younger kids, I like that they graffiti because I think that has to do with this expression and it's like self-identity.
We used to spend a lot of time at the park, yeah. We go and have a picnic up there and go swimming and just have lots of fun.
I don't know, when I go sit outside, I feel connected anywhere I go. Whether you're walking up to 2 Foot Miners Lake, driving down the highway, you see a deer or a moose.
From here to the highway and up from there, right up to Miners Lake, we talked about that long, decades ago, maybe back in the 70s, or it was early 80s. So we agreed at that time. We never had nothing written down, but we agreed on it. That they said that place should be left alone.
Everybody goes up there to fish and that because it's a nice area, it's secluded, there's no interruption from highway noise, traffic or anything. It's quiet, it's a beautiful place to be.
And I know when I was chief at one meeting, they wanted to preserve all that area for the generations to come, just to leave it natural.
My ancestors were raised and my ancestors are buried over here, and like it means a lot. I think this is like my all-time favorite place to be for sure.
All the old people used to be there, living there, and now they're all gone. And so that's a special place. Yeah, that's my first recollection here on Mother Earth. So
the only other places that I would say that are pretty significant to us are right here within our community.
I actually like how small our reserve is.
I kind of do too.
Some people say it sucks, but I think it's fine because we all know each other.
Yeah.
And it's not awkward or anything.
That the community that we have here is the center of everything, that without this, there's nothing.
But sometimes I wish I didn't know everybody though.
Yeah.
Because then everybody knows everybody's business.
I know.
So if we can make this a nicer place or a better place for everybody here, we'll build on that and look at successes and build on those.
If you go down Highway 529 towards the Bing Inlet turnoff, just past the railroad track on the right-hand side of the road, there's a little trail, a little bush trail that goes off under the hydro lines and down a hill to a flat area. If you look around that flat area at certain times of the year, you'll find the outlines of a log house. That's where I was when I was born. That was my home in that area.
I come here to hunt, I come here to think, and I mean sometimes I just come for a ride. Me and Angela will just jump on the four-wheelers and we'll come for a ride over here. We'll go for a walk. We'll go for a walk around the old settlement over there and have a look at everything and think about what it would be like to live here back then. And I mean myself, I wish I was born back then, because I wish, like, I like to work hard, and I just wanted to go through all everything that my ancestors had to go through. If there was a time machine or something like that, I would go back in time.
Our traditional gathering spots here was Manitoulin Island. And if you look at all the First Nations, where they're located on the water systems.
We were living just everyday normal lives here. And as usual, people were coming here in the spring and in the fall to do their fishing, drying their fish, and taking it home to wherever they lived. This was sort of like a central place for that, because they could come from south and they could come from the north.
So when Robinson came through here, he met all those people, and he came through in the summer months. So the group that he met here on this reserve, they were here for their summer months, and they came out of West Bay and Manitowan Island.
The reserve is actually two sections. West Bay is also a part of our reserve, and one of the things you'll notice if you look at the Robinson Huron Treaty is Chigang or West Bay is not a signer to it, because they were part of Magnetawan at that time. So we traveled back and forth between here and West Bay.
If you would have went to Miners Lake, land-wise, you would have went through a hard maple forest, which was our maple sugar gathering area. Okay? That's up at the end of Miners Lake. And if you go to the next little river north of here, you go up the Still River, you'll come to Noganosh Lake. That was our hunting area.
I spoke to the membership clerk up there, and he said, how come people on my list are on your membership list? And I said, I was going to ask you the same question.
There's a lot of, I guess you could call it recent history, like that. Because when all these names were being given out, it was 1850s and on. It wasn't back then. I'm sure our people back in the day, they called it something completely different.
Noganosh is not really a name. Our real name is the Magnetawan. That comes from Manitowan Island. That's where we came from, Manitowan Island. Magnetawan means 10 leaves. That's a heart plant. And that's the only place you could get it was over here. And people from Quamacong used to come here and pick it.
And then the logging happened. Well, with all this activity in the water, the fish weren't coming up as good, you know. And also, everybody was working for the logging company.
The village was down below the bridge there, where it says on the map there. It was on the west side of it, I guess. And there was about maybe 7 or 8 houses there.
There's the old cemetery is up here. You gotta walk through the bush a ways, but it's really thick in there too. It's hard to get in there.
And before the old band office burnt, we had a map sort of like of who all those people were. And they all pretty well originated from about the time of 1900. And this reserve had a whole lot of different people here living, like from Cape Croker, Christian Island, Wiki. It was because of the lumber mill that was down in Binghamton, so they all worked there. They worked up in the bush, you know, cutting trees down and stuff. So
I was born here on this reserve. There was no highway here then, just a railroad. And the passenger train used to go by in the morning and in the afternoon. But you couldn't get a doctor here or anything. So my grandparents were the ones that delivered me here.
The train provided food for the families that were living on the side. And somebody said that they would throw flour and staples, macaroni from the train, and that's how they managed.
They had a school here. It was built somewhere in 1950. Attended that for a couple of years, I guess. Around 2 years, maybe.
You can still see where the house was, eh? The ground, eh? We never had no foundation them days. Just on the ground. Or some on the rock, eh? We still here you can see that where our little house was. I guess it was pretty small, but them days, geez, I thought it was a good size, eh? Pretty big house. Not today, boy, that was small.
Like I said, there was no highway here. There was just little trails, eh, from house to house and up to the railroad. They had a railroad station up here. And It was time of peaceful, I guess. Really peaceful. You could. There was no big parties or anything like that. You know, they just people just enjoyed each other and they helped each other.
And then the thing closed, the lawmill closed, and everybody moved.
And because there was no more work around here, eh? They used to have the mill down here and the Bing Inlet side, and on the Brit side, the other side of the river, they had the coal docks, and they had a basket factory there, so there was a lot of like employment. So they all shut down there in the early 1900s, and everybody just left. Like a lot of our people went down to Buffalo, and Sault Ste. Marie were the two locations that a lot of them went to. And some moved to Shawanaga like we did. We didn't move right out of the area. Some went to Toronto.
There was not too many people left here. I think there was some Coopers, a few Noggenashes, and some Missaubis.
So after it was deserted, there was nothing there anymore.
We used to come here to pick blueberries the odd time. We would stay at the old school where the village was. See, the village wasn't here. It was across the railroad track. There used to be an old school that was already closed down when I come around. The windows were all broke. The door wasn't closed. And it was all people drawing pictures. And it was all outboats, sailboats. Everybody drew a sailboat, I guess. There were all different kinds there.
And here, you know, when we first came here, there wasn't really anybody here. There was three old people living here. And they lived in the worst little buildings you could find. Uncle Bill was living in a little log shack there, you know, a long one. No insulation on the roof. And then the other old couple, same thing. I don't know how they survived here, these old people. You know, they were burning wood too. How did they get the wood together to keep warm? So then that's when we decided we're going to do something. We're going to move up here. I think that whole planning or that thinking started about 67, 68. When it really matured into moving here was when we heard that Indian Affairs was wanting to sell the reserve for something or other for $10,000, and I said, no way. I said, that's our kid's place, you know. I said, we better do something.
Working a lot with Wilmer and Veronica, because we were actually probably the first families here, and they worked so hard to have the band recognized and to have a chief and council. And this would have been early 70s.
First, we educated ourselves by going down south and learning from the chiefs down there. Because they've been working at it for a long time, so they know the ins and outs of that whole thing. We didn't. This was just like babies just stepping onto the ground. We didn't know a thing about this. But we had the determination and the idea that we could make it work.
We had a little election, and I got in as chief. So that's where this community is now. I guess you could say I was one of the founders of this community.
When we moved here, and we had to deal with Indian Affairs, there was this Indian agent who was in Parry Sound looking after the bands in the area, like Shawanaga and Perry Island. Even at that time, this man dares come to the reserve here and says, well, we want to use this land here where you say you're going to settle, and we should make a marina here. I said, I beg your pardon. I said, this has got nothing to do with you. I said, this is our land. And he said, well, you can build over at Old Village. I said, first you put that road in there for us. And he says, oh, that's going to cost $1 million. Well, I said, you're not getting this part we're building here. It's closer to the highway. We're going to build way over there in the bush, you know, and have to battle with the snow and everything all winter. So We built here over their heads. I just didn't agree with them telling us where to build, where to live. You know, it wasn't their business. It was our land.
The first two houses we built were for the elders.
Charlie Naganash and his wife Agnes, a couple of their kids. You know, that's all there was here.
And the next house we built was my brother's. He was the administrator because we didn't have no office. There was no place to have an office, so we used one of his rooms there for an office. That's how we got started. Then I built mine after that, the fourth year.
I did work here, construction, we both did. And when we built our house, our kids were right into it too, building the house.
And we moved back to this reserve when there was part of a road. There wasn't a road, and there was one house.
Apparently they floated all the lumber across from the river on the other side to on this side because the road wasn't ready yet.
I didn't think that people who lived in the city would want to come and live way out in the bush, you know. There's really nothing here for anybody unless you decide you're going to work hard at living.
So it was different from being raised in an urban place to come back to a country where there was nothing, not even no hydro or water. But I don't know, maybe it was kind of inside of me because I really loved it.
We trapped. We did anything to survive.
There was a lot of things, like it wasn't all rosy or anything like that. We had a lot of problems in the community too, and trying to get established. And I even took up trapping. I trapped. And when my kids hear that now, they go, "How old are you, Mom?" Like, they can't comprehend their mother going out in the bush and trapping.
Then in August, we used to go in the bush and we used to cut wood. We used to cut 24, 26 cords of wood. That's Wilmer and I and the kids. And, oh yeah, we worked hard, we did. But we had a good time doing it, you know. Nobody was yelling at somebody or anything like that, eh? If you didn't want to go, okay, you stay home and mop the floor or something, you know, clean up the house.
I knew we were from Magnetawan. I always heard about this place, and I always wanted to come home.
I don't know, there was just something in me that said to come home. And I came home, and my dad was still here. He was still alive, and I lived with my dad, I guess, for about 3 years.
There was 4 houses here when I moved back. Mine was the 5th house.
We came back, quite a bit of us at a time, eh? And I even worked on this road here when they cut it in, this one here now. We cut this in the winter time. We brushed it all out. It was very, very cold, I remember that.
And it was starting to grow, right? Wilmer was starting to get some infrastructure in here, fighting with Indian Affairs to get some monies to start the infrastructure and the housing. And yeah, I guess I wanted to be a part of that.
It grew up once the road got in here. Like, people started coming home all the time. Every year there was somebody coming home.
Now we're noticing a big influx of people coming home looking for work because they know there's change, there's things going on here.
It's nice to see more people coming back. That's what I like to see, that have been out there working. They come back, they bring their things that they've learned and their people skills and their work ethics and stuff like that. They bring back to the community too.
We were raised in a non-native home, so coming back here was like being with our people, I guess, in a way. And it was nice to see. For me, it was nice to see others like myself.
Coming back, the best things for me, I was somewhere where I belong.
1999, we moved here, and I haven't moved since. So it's been 13 years I've been in my mom's house, and I really enjoy living in the community, and I don't think I could live in the city again.
When I decided to move here, I said, okay, this is going to be it for the rest of my life. This is where I'm going to live. So I'm going to pick and choose a place where I want to live. So I picked that spot for where we are now. The water's right outside, you know? And we do need that water too, to calm us. Because it helps. Because it's constantly moving. You know, it's never still water. And air is never still either. Trees are never still either. No matter what, trees are always moving. Water's always moving. So this is where I decide to live, and this is where I'm going to kick the bucket here too.
A long time ago, our people used to be on this river. It used to be their life. It'd be their travel ways, it'd be their highways, it'd be everything that they had.
2 foot is 4 foot, 14.